In a world more connected than ever before, where a tap on a screen can bridge continents and bring In a world more connected than ever before, where a tap on a screen can bridge continents and bring distant voices into our ears, why do so many of us feel profoundly, achingly alone? It's a paradox of our age, unprecedented connectivity coexisting with a pervasive sense of isolation. This isn't just a fleeting emotion. It's a growing crisis, a silent epidemic that is reshaping our mental and physical landscapes. We are talking about the loneliness epidemic, a phenomenon that has captured the attention of scientists, psychologists, and public health officials worldwide. It's a feeling that transcends age, geography, and socioeconomic status, touching lives from bustling metropolises to quiet rural towns. But what exactly is loneliness, and why, despite our digital tethering, are we more isolated than ever? More importantly, what can we do to reclaim genuine connection in an increasingly fragmented world? Loneliness, at its core, is the distressing feeling that accompanies the perception that one's social needs are not being met by the quantity or, crucially, the quality of one's social relationships. It's not merely about being alone. Solitude can be a cherished state of peace and introspection. Instead, loneliness is the subjective experience of lacking meaningful social connection. Dr. John Cacioppo, a pioneer in the field of social neuroscience, famously defined loneliness as perceived social isolation. This distinction is vital. You can be surrounded by people and still feel profoundly lonely, just as you can be physically alone and feel perfectly content. The feeling stems from a discrepancy between the social connections we desire and those we actually have. This internal alarm system, much like hunger or thirst, signals a fundamental human need that is going unmet. When this alarm persists, it begins to take a severe toll. The science of loneliness reveals a complex interplay of psychological, biological, and evolutionary factors. From an evolutionary perspective, social connection was paramount for survival. Our ancestors relied on tribes for protection, food, and reproduction. Being ostracized from the group was often a death sentence. This deep-seated need for belonging is hardwired into our brains. When we experience social rejection or isolation, our brains react in ways strikingly similar to physical pain. Studies using fMRI have shown that the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex, a region associated with the distress of physical pain, becomes active when individuals experience social exclusion. This neurological overlap underscores just how fundamental social connection is to our well-being. It's not just a nice-to-have, it's a need as basic as food and water. Chronic loneliness doesn't just hurt emotionally, it has profound and measurable impacts on our physical health. Research has consistently linked persistent loneliness to a heightened risk of various health problems, rivaling the dangers of smoking and obesity. The U.S. Surgeon General, Dr. Vivek Murthy, has highlighted this, calling loneliness a public health crisis. Studies published in journals like Psychological Science and JAMA Internal Medicine demonstrate that lonely individuals have elevated levels of stress hormones like cortisol, which can lead to chronic inflammation. This inflammation, in turn, is a known contributor to heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and certain cancers. Loneliness also impairs immune function, making individuals more susceptible to infections and slower to recover from illness. The constant vigilance associated with perceived social threat keeps the body in a state of chronic stress, accelerating cellular aging and increasing the risk of premature mortality. It's a silent killer, eroding our health from the inside out. Beyond physical ailments, the psychological toll of loneliness is equally devastating. It is a significant risk factor for mental health conditions such as depression, anxiety disorders, and even cognitive decline. The lack of meaningful social interaction can lead to a downward spiral. Loneliness breeds negative self-perception, which makes it harder to engage with others, further deepening the isolation. This vicious cycle can be incredibly difficult to break. Lonely individuals often experience disrupted sleep patterns, impaired executive function, and a reduced ability to regulate emotions. The brain, deprived of positive social feedback, can become hypervigilant to social threats, leading to increased paranoia and distrust, further alienating them from potential connections. It's a profound erosion of mental resilience and emotional well-being. So why, in an era of unprecedented global connectivity, are we experiencing this surge in loneliness? Modern society, with its rapid technological advancements and shifting social structures, has inadvertently created fertile ground for isolation. One of the most frequently cited culprits is the rise of digital communication and social media. While platforms like Facebook, Instagram, and X promise to connect us, they often deliver a diluted, curated version of connection. We scroll through endless feeds of carefully constructed lives, comparing our messy realities to idealized online personas. This constant comparison can foster feelings of inadequacy and envy, paradoxically increasing feelings of isolation rather than alleviating them. The superficiality of many online interactions often fails to satisfy our deep-seated need for authentic, meaningful connection. 1,000 likes on a post cannot replace the warmth of a genuine conversation or a shared laugh with a friend. Furthermore, the nature of work has changed dramatically. The gig economy, remote work, and increasingly demanding professional lives often mean less time for spontaneous social interaction. The traditional workplace, once a hub of social activity and community, is for many becoming a more solitary experience. Long commutes, extended working hours, and the blurring lines between work and personal life leave little room for cultivating and maintaining robust social networks. The emphasis on individual achievement and self-reliance, while fostering independence, can also inadvertently discourage interdependence and community building. We are often encouraged to be self-sufficient, but humans are fundamentally social creatures, not meant to navigate life's challenges entirely alone. Urbanization also plays a significant role. While cities offer proximity to millions, they can also be incredibly isolating. The anonymity of urban life, the transient nature of relationships, and the sheer pace of modern living can make it challenging to form deep, lasting bonds. Neighbors may live side by side for years without exchanging more than a polite nod. The decline of traditional community institutions, such as local clubs, religious organizations, and civic groups, has further eroded the natural spaces where people once forged connections. These informal gathering places provided a sense of belonging and shared purpose that is increasingly absent in many contemporary communities. The very fabric of communal life seems to be unraveling in many places. Economic pressures and societal expectations also contribute. The pressure to constantly achieve, to maintain a certain lifestyle, and to present a perfect image can be exhausting. This often leads to a reluctance to be vulnerable, to share our struggles, and to ask for help, all essential components of deep connection. There's a pervasive fear of being perceived as weak or unsuccessful, which drives us further into ourselves. Moreover, the increasing mobility of modern life, where people frequently move for jobs or opportunities, means that established social networks are constantly being disrupted. Rebuilding these networks in new environments can be a daunting and often lonely process, leaving many feeling adrift and disconnected. So, what can we do to combat this pervasive loneliness epidemic? The solutions are multifaceted, requiring both individual effort and societal shifts. On an individual level, the first step is acknowledging the feeling without shame. Loneliness is a universal human experience, not a personal failing. Reaching out, even when it feels uncomfortable, is crucial. This could mean reconnecting with old friends, joining a club or volunteer group that aligns with your interests, or simply striking up conversations with people in your daily life, your barista, your neighbor, a fellow commuter. The key is to prioritize quality over quantity in our interactions. A few deep, meaningful connections are far more protective against loneliness than a vast network of superficial acquaintances. Psychological interventions also offer powerful tools. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, can help individuals challenge negative thought patterns that contribute to social anxiety and withdrawal. Therapy can provide strategies for improving social skills, building self-esteem, and developing a more positive outlook on social interactions. Mindfulness practices can also be beneficial, helping individuals become more present and engaged in their interactions, fostering deeper connections. The University of Arizona study, for instance, found that solitary time does not necessarily correlate with feelings of loneliness unless individuals view solitude negatively. Cultivating a positive relationship with oneself and one's own company can be a powerful antidote to perceived isolation. Beyond individual actions, systemic changes are vital. Communities can foster connection by creating more public spaces that encourage interaction, supporting local initiatives, and promoting intergenerational programs. Employers can recognize the importance of social well-being in the workplace, creating opportunities for genuine connection among colleagues. Policymakers can invest in programs that address social isolation, particularly among vulnerable populations like the elderly or those with chronic illnesses. Education systems can teach social-emotional skills from a young age, equipping future generations with the tools to build and maintain healthy relationships. The World Health Organization and the CDC have both emphasized the importance of social connectedness as a determinant of health, underscoring the need for a public health approach to this issue. One of the most powerful antidotes to loneliness is purpose. Engaging in activities that give our lives meaning, whether it's through work, hobbies, or volunteering, can provide a sense of belonging and connection to something larger than ourselves. When we are working towards a shared goal or contributing to a cause we believe in, we naturally form bonds with others who share our values. This shared purpose can transcend superficial differences and create profound connections. It shifts our focus from what we lack to what we can contribute, fostering a sense of agency and collective identity. Ultimately, addressing the loneliness epidemic requires a collective reevaluation of our priorities. It means consciously choosing genuine human interaction over passive digital consumption. It means investing time and energy in nurturing our relationships, understanding that these connections are not luxuries but fundamental necessities for a healthy, fulfilling life. It means recognizing that vulnerability is not a weakness but a gateway to intimacy. It means building communities where everyone feels seen, heard, and valued. The path out of this epidemic is not through more technology, but through more humanity. It is about remembering our innate need for each other and actively working to weave ourselves back into the rich tapestry of human connection. The journey may be challenging, but the rewards, a healthier, happier, and more connected existence, are immeasurable. Let us not just connect, but truly connect. Let us not just exist, but truly live together. Let's delve deeper into the insidious ways modern society fosters this isolation. Beyond the often cited social media, consider the erosion of what urban planners and sociologists call third places. These are spaces distinct from home, first place, and work, second place, where people can gather informally, build community, and engage in casual social interaction. Think of cafes, community centers, parks, libraries, local pubs, or even front porches. In many contemporary societies, these spaces are diminishing or being privatized, replaced by isolated consumption experiences. Instead of lingering at a local coffee shop, we grab a drive-through latte. Instead of meeting neighbors at a community event, we retreat to our private homes, often engaging with screens. This architectural and social shift subtly but profoundly reduces opportunities for spontaneous, low-stakes social encounters that are crucial for weaving the fabric of community and combating loneliness. The absence of these informal meeting grounds means that forming connections requires more deliberate effort, which can be a significant barrier for those already struggling with social anxiety or a lack of energy. Another critical factor is the increasing pressure to maintain a facade of perfection, particularly amplified by social media. We are constantly bombarded with curated images of happiness, success, and ideal relationships. This creates a powerful incentive to hide our vulnerabilities, our struggles, and our imperfections. Yet, true connection thrives on authenticity and vulnerability. When we are afraid to show our true selves, we erect emotional barriers that prevent others from truly knowing us, and us from truly knowing them. This performative aspect of modern life, where we are constantly on stage, can be incredibly isolating. It fosters a sense of being fundamentally misunderstood or unlovable because we believe our true selves would be rejected. This fear of judgment, often exacerbated by online interactions, becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, pushing us further into isolation. The role of empathy in combating loneliness cannot be overstated. Research by psychologists like Dr. Helen Reese at Harvard Medical School highlights empathy as a crucial skill for fostering connection. Empathy involves understanding and sharing the feelings of another. In a fast-paced, individualistic society, the capacity for deep empathy can sometimes feel underdeveloped or undervalued. We are often encouraged to focus on our own needs and goals, sometimes at the expense of truly listening to and understanding others. Cultivating empathy, both for ourselves and for others, is a powerful antidote to isolation. It allows us to bridge emotional gaps, to see the world from another's perspective, and to respond with compassion, thereby strengthening bonds and creating a sense of shared humanity. Simple acts of kindness, active listening, and genuine curiosity about another person's experience can be profound acts of connection. Consider also the concept of social atrophy. Just as physical muscles weaken without use, our social skills can atrophy if not regularly exercised. The convenience of digital communication, while offering many benefits, can sometimes lead to a reliance on less demanding forms of interaction. Texting, emailing, and social media comments, while useful, often lack the richness of nonverbal cues present in face-to-face conversations. Tone of voice, body language, eye contact. These subtle signals are vital for building rapport and understanding. If we consistently opt for these less demanding forms of communication, we may find ourselves less adept at navigating the complexities and nuances of in-person interactions, leading to increased anxiety and a reluctance to engage, thus perpetuating the cycle of loneliness. Re-engaging with face-to-face interactions, even if initially uncomfortable, is like rehabilitating a muscle. It gets stronger with practice. Finally, the importance of self-compassion. Often when we feel lonely, we turn that feeling inward, blaming ourselves for our lack of connection. We might think, there must be something wrong with me, or I'm unlikable. This self-criticism only exacerbates the pain of loneliness. Dr. Kristen Neff, a leading researcher in self-compassion, argues that treating ourselves with the same kindness and understanding we would offer a good friend is crucial for emotional well-being. Self-compassion involves three components: self-kindness, being warm and understanding toward ourselves; common humanity, recognizing that suffering and imperfection are part of the shared human experience; and mindfulness, observing our painful thoughts and emotions with balance. By practicing self-compassion, we can break the cycle of self-blame and create a more nurturing internal environment, making us more resilient and open to forming external connections. It allows us to approach our social anxieties and perceived shortcomings with gentleness, rather than harsh judgment, which is a far more effective path to growth and connection. The journey to overcome the loneliness epidemic is not a sprint, but a marathon, requiring sustained effort and a shift in mindset. It demands that we consciously reprioritize genuine human connection in a world that often pulls us towards isolation. It means recognizing that our inherent need for belonging is not a weakness, but a fundamental strength. It calls for us to be brave enough to be vulnerable, to extend empathy, and to actively seek out and cultivate meaningful relationships. It also requires us to advocate for societal changes that foster community and support authentic interaction. By understanding the multifaceted nature of loneliness, its evolutionary roots, its neurological impact, and its modern accelerators, we can begin to dismantle its grip. Let us remember that while the world may feel increasingly fragmented, the capacity for deep, resonant connection remains within us, waiting to be rekindled. It is in these rekindled connections, both with ourselves and with others, that we will find our way back to a shared sense of belonging, and ultimately, to a more fulfilling and truly connected existence. The choice and the effort are ours to make, for the sake of our individual well-being and the health of our collective humanity.